about was, do you reckon it'll ever become an Olympic sport? And do you think it will just take a serious amount of time before it's like truly
Yes.
respected along other sports?
Yes, I'll give you. There's a reason why I believe it will, and then there's an obstacle they need to get past. Okay, so the first one is the reason why I believe it will is because I would claim that MMA is the biggest sport of 2020. Every single sport perished this year through the coronavirus. MMA held up. UFC held up. They put on fights almost every week during the thing. Dana moved to Fight Island, Apex Center. You know, now we've got these places opening up. People can put on more fights. No other sports survived. NBA, rugby, football, AFL, everything was suspended. Everything. So,
And only slowly coming back now.
yeah. So 2020 was the year of MMA. And I remember there was a quote on my wall in the UFC gym where Dana White is saying, I reckon MMA will be the biggest sport in the world by 2020. And I believe it, and he was right. So that's why I believe, and eventually it's going to keep getting bigger. It's going to keep getting, we're going to have more stars. We've got so much upcoming talent, so I reckon. And there's like events now growing, organizations growing everywhere. It will take a long time because the reason why is because this is a combat sport. And I don't think the Olympics goes for what, 2 weeks? How many times does a fighter have to fight in over a space of 2 weeks before he gets gold? And how dangerous that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't want people fighting multiple times in one night.
No, but they do it in kickboxing.
There you go. Yeah.
They do it in the King of the Ring and things like this.
Yeah.
I found that there was a few obstacles that I wanted to mention. I think one of the main obstacles is, I mean, you're trying to get MMA into the Olympics, but we still don't have kickboxing in the Olympics, you know? We've got boxing, we've got wrestling,
we've got judo,
and we've got judo, and we've got taekwondo. I'll get back to that in a second because that's an interesting one to talk about as well. But we don't even have kickboxing. And to bring in MMA where there's very minimal, it's full contact, the fullest of contact, to be honest. Are we going to see a more watered down version of MMA if it is in the Olympics? And the reason why I might say that is Taekwondo, there's two different types. There's the ITF style, which is the more freestyle version. It's pretty much, it's essentially kickboxing where a lot of people have started to introduce knees and a lot of Muay Thai stuff into it. And it's freestyle Taekwondo.
That was the one you did, right?
Yeah. It's freestyle Taekwondo. I did both. But ITF is much better because it's full contact or semi-contact. It's just kicking everything above the knee, no calf kicks or anything like that. And just normal kickboxing, you can add in knees and things like that, and back fists and things like that. But then there's WTF Taekwondo, which is the Olympic Taekwondo, where you can only kick. You can punch, but you can only punch to the stomach, and it's not a proper punch. It's usually the punch is used to create distance, to push away from someone so you can kick them. And usually they have someone that clicks for point sparring, just like point fighting karate, which is quite a bit watered down as well. And then they have sensors in the guard, where if you kick, if you kick them in the flank, it doesn't get a point. But if you kick them in the stomach or the side, the sensor goes ding, and you get a score.
Okay.
And there.
I don't think they'll want to do that.
I don't think they're going to want to do that because most people that enjoy Taekwondo look at Olympic Taekwondo and go, I'm glad Taekwondo's in the Olympics, but don't really like the version. It's quite watered down, and I don't want to see a watered version of MMA.
What I would like, though, is the Olympics maybe to have their own system of judging. They learn from the mistakes, don't adopt the boxing judge point system, make their own little point system, make it better. It could be a chance for MMA to improve.
Yeah.
Okay? And then they would have to decide the rounds. They would have to decide the ounce gloves. They would have to decide, does it take down, mate, if it can't be through knockout, is it what's worth more, a takedown or a knockdown? You know? If they get a submission, you know?
They haven't even sorted those own rules out for normal professional MMA.
Yeah.
I question if they would be able to if they don't get it ready for professional MMA, I don't know if you would get it ready for Olympic MMA in 2028. I mean, 2028 is it's in eight years' time. It doesn't seem that to be honest, 8 years time, we're both going to be 30. It seems really long, but 8 years I don't think is long enough to create a rule set that could be adopted in like Olympic and professional MMA. It's an interesting question. It's an interesting question.
8 years from now, when we start to grow a few grey hairs, and then we have
Grey hairs at 30, mate. Come on.
yeah,
Come on.
maybe a couple grey hairs.